Welcome to Gamersledge Podcast, the weekly podcast about video games with news, reviews, analysis, and opinion. Keeping you up to date on how to wisely spend your money for video games, movies, RPGs, comics, books, and more for over 16 years. Find us online at gamersledge.com. And now, your hosts.
Hello and welcome to Gamersledge Podcast. Come on in, sit down, relax, have yourself a purple mason jar filled with iced tea. It is a look at the video gaming industry, a look at what it means to be a hardcore gamer, and a conversation amongst friends. Joining us this week on our panel, all the way at the far left, or actually start in the middle, it is the principal, Matt. To his right, it is the completionist, Nick.
Hey!
And then last but not least, on the far left, it is the Trollinator, John. Hi, John. Oh, right, he's on mute. Yay. I can't unmute him.
Should be able to.
No, it's not letting me. He has to unmute himself. Just tap the screen. There should be a way to unmute yourself.
Hey, there we go.
Yay! Technology.
Yay! I also have an iced tea. It's empty, but yet it's also slightly different because it's alcoholic.
I am, of course, your host, Mark. And we have a ton of stuff to discuss tonight. Let's do what we always do, go around the room and talk about things that we've played. We will hold off on the beta discussion until the end of that. So starting at the far left, John, other than the beta, what did you play this week?
Nothing mainstream, just mostly old school stuff and or free to play things like World of Tank, some of the free PlayStation Plus games. I dove into my archives to play Secret of Mana, just busting out whatever I can to kind of tide me over till the release of The Division.
Which we will talk about extensively.
Other than, of course, the beta.
Yes. Matt, how about you?
I love how he has to search to find things to tide him over. I'm overwhelmed of things that I could play for probably the next 20 years.
Amen.
So
I just like how he plays World of Tank, like there's only one.
Yeah, World of Tank. In Soviet Russia, tank is your world. Or something like that. I don't know.
You know what? Bite me. It's not like you guys play that anymore. The only reason I downloaded it is because you were bugging me about it, and then you haven't played it once.
I have too. I played it last night.
Yeah, I played it today.
So what you're saying is you just don't invite me.
Well, that could be.
So there's this thing called about 8:30 p.m. where suddenly John's tired. John doesn't want to play anymore. So guess what? Yes, you're correct.
Ah! My little sticky thing fell off.
No boy.
There goes our PG-13 rating.
Yeah. While he does that, Matt, what else did you?
I played some Tap Titans still.
Really?
Yeah. I've only prestiged like 7 times. So I just, whenever I get too mad at work or whatever, I just sit there and until I have to wait for my little guys to make more money. Dug into Fallout 4 some more, doing the super slow route through. Swung back through some of the areas I covered earlier, looking for buildings I missed, and picked up a couple of quests I missed that were earlier on. And so you go into the buildings, and it's like, ping, you're dead, ping, you're dead, ping, you're dead. And so you can just kind of walk through there. I actually fired up Nova 111 or 111 or 111 or however you're supposed to say that, which is one of the free games with Plus for this month. Just because I was really curious as to exactly what it was. It wasn't what I thought it was, but it was kind of fun. So we'll have to fire that back up again.
What is
it? What is it?
Yeah.
It's grid-based exploration game, sort of. You're in a little ship, and you move one square at a time. And you have to pick up little scientists and stuff as you go along. Sometimes there's rocks in the way you have to break through. Just different things. And there's a little step counter down at the bottom counting how many times you push a button to move. So ultimately you're rated by how many or few
actions
you take. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all I just got through like the first couple levels, and my numbers were really high, so I don't know if that's normal or average or bad or what, but I'm a kind of dig in every corner kind of person, so I'm guessing there's the your run through to dig and find all the stuffs and all the secrets, and then there's your run through to get through in the least number of moves possible. Also played some World of Tanks. And did a little bit of Crypt of the Necrodancer, which there he is. Which I'll let you talk about more in depth because you got more into that than I did. I really just kind of scratched the surface on that one. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nick, what about you?
Nearly headless Nick.
He was muted a second ago.
He's still muted, and his head is not moving.
He may have fallen off the internet.
Or fallen asleep.
Okay.
Whoa.
So,
syllables.
He's like,
sometimes even though I know that you only live like 40 minutes away from him, it seems like he's on the moon sometimes.
That's all state of mind.
We have to wait like 15 seconds for our messages to get there and relay back. All right, it looks like he has fallen off the internet. So I played a heck of a lot of stuff. I got really pissed at that game Tharsis because I kept losing to it by turn 4. I have now made it to turn 7. It's still really hard. Hold on, I'm going to mute John again because we're getting some feedback. There we go. I'm still getting, it's still hard, but very, very good. And apparently Nick and his double are back, so we'll let him go in a second. Played Crypt of the Necrodancer. The game is everything that I was hoping it would be. It is a hack and slash roguelike with dancing controls. Now, I didn't show this to you, Matt, when you were connected to me to do SharePlay, but the funny part about it is you can actually hook up a dance pad to it. They have a dance pad mode. It's fantastic. The music's catchy. I also found that they had a kind of easy mode with the bard, so you don't have to actually dance to the beat. But that trophy list.
That was insane.
That trophy list. Nick, you will never platinum this game.
Oh, yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. I can platinum anything, given enough time.
Yeah, well, all I'm going to say is it will take you years to platinum this one.
No, it took me 2 years to platinum Destiny, and I promised never to do that again.
Destiny is a cakewalk compared to this trophy list.
No. You don't understand. My ability to do rhythm games is subpar to professional.
I am telling you that this will be the thing that breaks you.
No.
It's egregious.
It's killing me right now that I haven't platinumed Borderlands, the pre-sequel, already. Because I'm at like 48 out of 50 for like levels, and then I have to do 4 more characters, and ugh. So. Yeah,
but so played a good bit of that. I've also played The Witness. Did I talk about that last week? I don't think I did. I don't think it dropped. Yeah, that was post last week's podcast. Lexi and I have started playing it together. That game is brilliant. It's beautiful. It's colorful. It sets a mood, and then it basically beats you over the head with a rake. The puzzles are, I would not call them, I don't want to say they're not difficult, because they are difficult, but the thing about it is that each area has a vocabulary to solve the puzzles, and once you understand that vocabulary, then you take that with you to the next set of things. But the game gives you free. You can go anywhere from the beginning of the game and tackle the island of puzzles however you want, and it's really impressive. I can't believe that such a small team did this, and we'll have some news about it as we get to the news a little bit later. But that game is a lot of fun. Lexi's playing it with me. She loves it, and she's never really dug puzzle games before, so I'm pretty pleased about that.
Can't watch anything about that game without it making me think of Myst.
So the short answer is you're not wrong. It is kind of the modern day sequel to Myst. Which, when you say that as a hardcore gamer, I know that I get upset because Myst was a HyperCard slideshow. But this is more, this is more of a fully fleshed out game. I really, really like it. I know the price point seems high, but it is more than worth it. The amount of content you get for the $40 is worth the cost of admission. So that's something I do highly recommend.
I'm just going to wait till Dave buys it so it comes out for free.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. I also don't recommend getting hiccups on the podcast. Fantastic. The other thing I played, we'll talk about the beta. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I played. World of Tanks, Gems of War, Spelunker World, Final Fantasy Record Keeper. Although now I'm going blah to Final Fantasy Record Keeper because I haven't been interested in any of the characters they've had for the last 3 or 4 events.
Oh, that took long enough.
Speaking of Final Fantasy, did any of you guys see the Nibelheim? I think I'm using the wrong name.
Nibelheim?
Yeah, whatever it was. The trailer that dropped for 15.
That is a totally different combat. That is not normal. That is not turn-based.
Well, that is definitely not turn-based.
Not turn-based. And there was a small part of me like, well, they're not going to use the whole priority system like they did before, which I thought was cool. They're definitely not doing turn-based. That's dead. They're going to do live. They're going to do something along that nature, but I never knew they'd do that. Holy wow.
I actually have not seen the trailer yet.
Okay, well, I'll watch that. Yeah, there's a certain other game series that pretty much everyone I've talked to it about has evoked after watching that.
Is it Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Well, no, you got to tell now.
No, because I want to see if you evoke that same
okay, all right.
series.
Other than that, I think that's pretty much everything. I'm still playing Final Fantasy Record Keeper, don't get me wrong. I just have not been super into it like I was. And Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest pissed me off because I somehow missed that magical time between today and tomorrow and missed their 31-day check-in, even though I checked in all 31 days. And so apparently I wasn't the only one pissed off with that because they changed it today so that you only have to check in 20 days out of the 31 to get the big prize that they give at the end, which is a fat pack of boosters. So, yeah. I think that's it. Nick, since you're no longer a freeze frame, how about you?
Well, I've been playing some Borderlands, the pre-sequel, just because it is fun, and I'm trying to get the platinum because I always try to get platinum. Played a lot more Fallout 4. I think I'm level 25 now. I have my own power armor army. Is that right? Yeah. I've got about 5 sets of power armor, all crappy. So, but I did get the Brotherhood of Steels, just because it was better than mine by a long shot. So, other than that, I'm still playing Deck Heroes on my phone. I'm starting to play, what was it, One Finger Death Punch?
Oh.
On my phone, and that's addicting. and I think I get like 1,000 kills in the endless mode. Not because of my character. No, my character sucks right now. But because I find somebody who has like heal, mastered their kung fu, and all these other stats. So I'll get like 100 kills, and then I'll get 900 kills with the other guy, and just reach top ranks. So that's cool. Other than that, I did. Don't judge. Played 1 day of Destiny.
Man, you just tap the vein. Just tap the vein.
I needed my fix. I just a little more. I haven't played it in a long time. I even got the email. Why aren't you coming back? There's
By long time, what do you mean?
Like over a month.
Ooh, a month.
I know. Hey, to some people that is an addiction. So I've had actual people message me on that game. Hey, we need a 6, and we know you're the best. I'm like, oh, don't say that. It's not fair. I know it's sad, but I played one day just to see how it is and to get back into it. I don't really have an interest in coming back, even for the Valentine's Day event. I will come back if there's hard, heavy DLC to come in. I may come back, but there's no challenge right now.
I don't get it. I don't. They're floating in the air. They're like. I'm trying to figure out what game it's supposed to be like.
What, Fallout?
No, the Final Fantasy 15.
He's watching the trailer now.
I'm watching the trailer right now because I'm trying to figure out what this.
There goes John.
There goes John.
Either John or his phone is drunk, one or the
other. Or yes.
Both?
Boom, boom.
Did you play anything else?
I've been playing Pokemon Picross like crazy.
Pokemon what?
Picross.
Did we talk about this? I think we did.
We might have. But yeah, we did a while ago. But I have all Pokemon unlocked. I'm getting their Mega Evolutions. Sam got addicted to it for a while, and she got all of the tiles, and she made the Primal Evolutions of Groudon and Kyogre.
So is your household picking up the Digimon game that just came out?
Cyber Sleuth?
Yes.
Better answer. Do I want to? Yes. Can I? Do I have money? Do I have time? Ha! On the last one, and no. So,
okay.
I want to so badly because I love Digimon World 4. That is like a special place in my heart. But I can't. I don't have time. Sadly.
So Digimon are digital monsters. Digimon are the champions.
Champions. Boom, boom.
Just in case you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was one of those people who had the Digimon Agumon shirts. Went to school, felt all proud, and wasn't supposed to be.
All right, I did omit one game by mistake. Dive Kick. I played the hell out of Dive Kick this week.
Really?
If you've not played Dive Kick, it was on sale on the PSN for $2. I don't know if it still is, but it is a 2-button fighting game, and it is actually really, really good. It's if you like Nidhogg, it's in the same kind of vein as Nidhogg. In fact, the Nidhogg Fencer is actually one of the playable characters in Dive Kick. That's a lot of fun. Okay, Matt, I give up. What was this supposed to invoke? Because I didn't see it. I mean, it looked familiar, but nothing like.
Well, it was more thematically. And the sneaking around and
like Metal Gear Solid?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that part, but you had specifically said battle system, so I'm like.
Oh no! I didn't mean the the battle system, but okay, yes, it was the overall feeling of the trailer.
Yeah,
not
no,
the battle system
I got that from the way they were sneaking around. I'm like, well, this looks like yes. So
yeah, so it's been Metal Gear Solid Fantasy or Final Fantasy Metal Gear or it's been pretty much.
Final Gear.
Final Gear. Metal Solid.
I think it was obvious they couldn't do turn-based again.
You know, I hate that phrase that you just uttered. They can. They choose not to.
It's very easy to implement a turn-based system. They can.
The mass population would not support an old-school Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, turn-based attack style. They just wouldn't support it.
But that's
Not
what
the
people
mass
want.
population.
The mass population
Not the
gonna buy
mass
this game.
population.
No, I actually, I'm going to agree with him a little bit. I agree the mass population doesn't have enough attention span to go, okay, so I know it's coming up, I have to wait. Okay, now it's my turn. They don't have the ability to do that. They'd be like, okay, now I have to wait. Oh, look, something shiny. And then that'd be it. The game would be down. So they have to have something that's constantly there, which is cool because I really like Star Ocean. I love that combat system. I love how it's you get your own area, but it's not turn-based.
Or Final Fantasy XII style combat.
That was interesting.
See, if you're going to make that conjecture, then I would say that although Final Fantasy XII is one of my favorites, I think that would not work either because then you're allowing the computer to actually act on your behalf for a good chunk of the battle.
Yeah, but you're setting parameters based off of what you want them to do.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that's why it's one of the best in the series. But for some reason, if you're saying the mass market doesn't have the attention span to not take their focus off for 2 seconds, then how are they going to have the attention span to set all those parameters?
Set them once and you're done.
Well, I mean, it's
For the most part.
The parameters are supposed to take place of the decision-making process for you. Things like, what do common people do? Well, if you have a white mage, then there's basically 5 steps you do. Is anyone below X amount of HP? Yes? Okay, heal. No? Okay, move on to the next thing. And it made the combat system very binary, which was super helpful probably for programming. Because there's your truth statements. So just use them. Thank you, puppy. So it's something that it's because when I play the game, I basically was like, oh, you're a healer, so you have to take these steps anyway. I just program them in, and voila. I mean, I was one of the people who, don't judge me, I got the infinite enemy thing going, and I put 4 players in place. I had the right stuff set. I had the right ability set. I set the controller down. I went to sleep, and I woke up like 40 levels higher. Super good day.
I actually have no idea what you're talking about, so...
No, I do.
I was not one of those people, apparently.
Well, for the final boss, you had to be like max level with bubble to double your health and all this stuff. So, in order to do that, they're like, "Yeah, you can grind for 7 weeks straight. Sure, go ahead." And I'm like, "No." And someone said you can set these certain parameters because there's a boss that spawns zombies, and literally your entire job is go to the boss and don't attack him. And heal everybody if they ever take damage. And every time he spawns a zombie, smack the zombie. It was something where, like, if the enemy is the lowest HP enemy in the area, but it's not the boss, it was a weird system. But it worked. And I got, like, a lot. I got all the way up to max level for it. So.
Cool. And this is the dog that keeps biting my heels while we're doing the podcast. Because he...
Marvel, set.
Cut his bang so we could see what he was biting. Maybe he...
Marvel, get back here.
No. So, anyways, so let's talk a little bit about obviously the biggest thing that happened this weekend, I should say. Well, this weekend and then some, and that was, of course, the Division beta. I will let everybody else go. I don't know should I go first since I'm the positive one, or
I think you should go first.
Okay,
I think you should go first, and then you should sum up. So you know.
Okay, that's fine. So, obviously, been looking forward to this beta for a long time. This is the reason. This game is the reason I bought a PS4. There's been a lot of concern leading up to the period of the beta about what was going to be the final deliverable. So I played all of the days. The beta was going to be from Friday through Sunday initially. It got extended through Monday evening. I played on every single day. The only day I did not play was yesterday, which was Tuesday, because I think it did. Did it go through the end of last night? I think it did.
It goes like midnight to Monday morning, Tuesday night, Monday night, Tuesday morning, I think.
Okay. So then, So then I played every single day. Most of those days I played a ridiculous amount of hours. There's not a counter, so I don't know for sure, but I want to say that I'm probably logged somewhere around 20 hours. That sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
You and me at least put 10 to 15 hours in together, at least.
And then I had 2 play sessions of like 4 to 5 hours apiece after that. So I'm thinking that's about right. The things I liked about the beta, and I'm writing an article with 5 reasons why I think this will be a commercial success. The shooting feels good. I liked it very much. Each gun felt different. It acted differently. Liked the mod system very much. The ability to mod out every single weapon and then take those mods off that weapon when you find a new, better one. The loot grind thirst is real. Finding that next great drop or reward is definitely part of the hook of the game.
Feel my pain. Feel my pain.
Oh, you have no idea. The thing that I like, and I'm writing a little bit about in this article, is I like the fact that powers are part of the loot drop system. So that you may find the greatest friggin' shotgun in the world, but if you're trying to spec to be a tank and it lowers your health by 1,000 and gives you an extra 40 DPS, then you're probably not going to use it. Go find something else, unless you want to keep it to build for a DPS build instead of a tank build. So that, to me, creates infinitely more permutations for the weapons and how useful they'll be for whatever build you're putting. I thought the story stuff was fine. I thought the co-op was great. I really enjoyed playing with my friends. You could play this by yourself. I don't know why you would want to do that to yourself, but you definitely can. I thought the beta area at first was small, but then as we played through it, I found myself going, I kind of wish there was a mount just for this area, like a motorcycle or something. I did a lot of collectible hunting, and I still did not find all the stuff by the time the beta had ended. Came close, but not quite all of it. And then, so the size I'm not worried about for the game. Tons of hidden nooks and crannies to find. And other than that, PvP is probably the last thing I'll touch on. The Dark Zone, I don't like PvP. I have never liked PvP. And for the most part of the beta, it was better than I expected. Because people were actually courteous most of the time. They weren't trying out to gank you, or you could kind of tell in advance if they were. But towards the end of the beta, where everybody was just going nuts, it was a total bloodbath, and everything I hate about PvP come to life. But a lot of the complaints I heard were that the AI spawn, like for the NPCs, was not high enough. I think as we expand the Dark Zone but still keep the same number of players, I don't think that should be such an issue. And the overall size of the map seems perfectly fine to me. Yes, it's not Brooklyn. I think that video that you shared with me, John, kind of addressed some really good points in that it's the same area, just in Manhattan. Right. And who knows if they'll do Brooklyn DLC. I kind of think that, if you've got those assets, you do something with them rather than sit on them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see after the season pass runs out, if they suddenly go, here's expansion, giant expansion number 4, and here's Brooklyn. And then suddenly you have a whole new set of higher level, they expand the level cap, all that type of stuff. So
not contradicting what you said, just kind of expanding on it, they have come out and said officially that Brooklyn and one other borough is not in the game. Not to say it's not in expansions or DLC, but it is officially not in the game, correct, regardless of what maps and images you've seen on the internet so far.
Yeah, and I expect that to be wholeheartedly true, with the caveat that this is the official language we're getting, not in the game.
Yes.
I expect to see them as DLC. Because why else otherwise? At what point did they scrap, so far into the dev timetable, that they go, you know what, let's just pick everything up and move it to Manhattan? I don't think so. I think they were purposefully showing that stuff was going to be in the game eventually, just not now. But overall, I thought it was fantastic. I had a great time. I met some new friends on the PSN that I will be continuing to play with. I thought it was. I think it will do well commercially. I think it will be a Destiny killer, which we'll get to in news a little bit later, in that it has all the same hooks Destiny has, except it's going to have more content and be good.
I have some contradicting opinions on this, so don't worry, Nick. Easy.
Hold on. Oh.
Easy, Nick.
But okay, fine. I'm gonna go back to my muted state, and you guys just talk.
So I know, John, you're chomping at the bit. So
no, let Matt go, because I think, and I do want to say right now that I loved it. I loved it. But I think I have some more naysayer point of views than Matt. So maybe let Matt go?
Wow, John thinks he can out-negative me. This is interesting.
It's what I told him before the show. I'm like, 2 Matts, I've never had to deal with that before.
Okay, well, caveat, disclaimer. I was hoping this would be the game that could sway me away from my aversion to MMOs. Spoiler alert, it isn't.
And on that caveat, before you jump in, it is a freaking MMO. Don't let anybody say otherwise. It's an MMO.
Yep.
It is.
100% MMO, and it falls into all the things that makes me not want to play it. But again, this is Matt. This is not. So I'm going to hit the good things and the parts that I don't care so much for. But ultimately, the game actually reminded me of a game we had a lot of fun in, Defiance.
Yep.
Minus, it's a completely different setting, and you don't have. At least we haven't seen. I haven't read enough on the Division, so I don't know if there's going to be the group events, the randomly spawning group events like Defiance had. Those were actually part of the game that I love for Defiance. So the fact that we didn't see any of that in here was kind of disheartening. But all the things that a lot of the things you said were positives. The group system, once I found the easy way to do it, was pretty good. It's funny because I'm never the one to find the easy way to do something. I always find the hardest way to do it. So.
And I will be the first to admit that I thought the UI was a little lacking. Not horrible, but there were certain shortcuts that they could have done a better job explaining.
Yeah.
And when I'm like, after that first time we logged off, I'm like, man, I just wish you could hold options to get straight to the freaking inventory menu. And then, lo and behold, you can. It's like, well, thanks for telling me. Yeah.
If you just happen to get that one right loading screen that tells you that one little tidbit, it's like, oh, hey, you can hold options.
Matt just randomly drops it where Mark and I are both like, wait, what? You can do this?
So, the discovering of things was good. The UI, while clumsy, was not as bad as I thought it was going to be from watching the footage I had seen before, especially not so much like the map. The way it does the map was the holographic thing around you is pretty cool. I knew that was going to be pretty cool. But for some reason, when I was watching stuff before, it just seemed like in the middle of the battle, you were going to have to navigate this tree of crap just to get to whatever you wanted to get to do something. And I don't know what video I saw that made me come to that conclusion, but it's not. Switching grenades isn't as fluid or good as I would like it to be, but it's not horrible. It is a cover-based shooter, so you are going to need cover. I went in knowing that. I was fine with that. It's good. That's another probably main difference from Defiance. Defiance was not a cover-based shooter.
Defiance was a straight-up action game.
Yeah, Defiance was a straight-up action MMO. So the gunplay did feel good. The weapons did all have a different feel to them. The customizations was a nice aspect. The fact that you didn't bond it to it, so when you got rid of that weapon, you lost the customizations. The fact that it didn't do that was good. But then the negatives for me, and this isn't a negative because I can play Atari 2600 games and it doesn't bother me, but the graphics left me kind of wanting. The video footage we had seen previously led me to believe it was going to be graphically better than the beta was. That's not to say that they're the last level of spit and polish and high-res textures and whatever haven't been applied, could be still coming, but I was a little bit graphically disappointed. The environments tended to really look similar. I mean, okay, I've never been in Manhattan. I've never been to New York City, any part of the boroughs. But if every single street looks exactly the same, I would be very, very disappointed.
Well, okay. Well, it didn't look... okay, I have been in New York.
Hey! It's not your turn. Shut up.
I know, but... okay. I think that's an unfair statement. I'll come back to it later.
That's okay. To me, it all seemed very similar. It didn't seem like there was a lot of variety in the
I agree.
I don't mind the word similar. I do mind the word exactly the same.
Okay, yes, they were not clones.
Similar.
They were very, 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 very similar.
Very similar.
The mission, the one mission we got was a good mission. It was fun, but after the 17th time of doing it, I was pretty much done with it.
Only because you were low level and we redid it to get you
we were
LOE.
trying to get me to 8 so we could Dark Zone at the same level. It was level. And then it ends up Mark giving a bottle of water to somebody is what pushed me over the edge. The level, not me mentally over the edge.
Both.
The weapons. The only bad thing about the weapons was and you know what? It's not as bad because I've played worse games. World of Tanks is much worse at this, but I didn't always know exactly what I was getting into looking at a weapon in the stats screen. Right? The descriptions were a little lacking. That's not a game breaker for me. The game breaker part basically comes down to it's an MMO. The loot grind is not a gene I have. I have no desire to run into the Dark Zone, go to the same 5 spots that enemies spawn, grab a pack full of stuff, maybe get ganked, maybe not get ganked. You know what? I don't mind helping people on it, but it does not drive me. I don't mind grinding. I don't mind grinding for gear. I don't mind grinding for levels, as long as I have something in the game that I'm progressing towards. Another boss, another area, another, doing that dodge 1,000 lightning bolts in Final Fantasy X so that you can get, who was it? Yuna's weapon? Yuna's ultimate?
One of their ultimates.
One of them. One of somebody's ultimate weapon. And, I'll do
Lulu.
Lulu, yes, there it was. I don't, that doesn't bother me, but just running around, picking up stuff, and that being the point in and of itself, it was, and again, the final version may be much more dynamic, but how many times did we run that option of gas station to the alley with the 2 guys to the thing across the way with 5 guys, back over to the gas station, to the alley, to the 5, to the gas station, to the alley, to the 5, and it was just monotonous. That doesn't do anything for me. The option of maybe getting a higher level loot drop because, or getting enough shadow bucks so that I can go to one of the random checkpoints and maybe Cheeky Chica's got something I want to buy, maybe, sort of, maybe, I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. That's the long game I'm looking at here. The ultimate goal is getting to the Dark Zone. I don't like the ultimate goal of the game. That's me. That's why it won't work for me. And I think after a month, the Dark Zone is going to devolve into that, what it happened to at the end of the beta, constantly.
Yeah,
it is going to be non-stop that. Unless they're pumping out new content often enough to keep people hunting for stuff. In between, after a week after a new patch drops where all the people who play nothing but this 24/7 have gotten all that, they're just going to sit there and be, excuse my French, assholes until the next content drop. Even though they don't need anything, they're just going to be in there because they bought this game and they're going to play it by God and kill everybody. So again, to me, that whole concept doesn't even sound remotely fun. So to me, it's less anything I saw in the game. While there were some things that I didn't necessarily love about the game, I don't find it next gen anything more than Defiance was. I don't find it to have evolved anything in a way significant enough to transform the way I think about MMOs or shooters or anything like that. And ultimately, the game breaks down into something that I just don't get enjoyment from. Now, having said that, did I enjoy playing with you and John? Yes, I did enjoy playing. That came out wrong. Did I enjoy playing the game with you and John? Yes, I did enjoy playing the game with you and John. And I would do it, you know. Oh God, that comes out bad too. And I would play the game with you guys if I thought I was going to have the time to be effective and a useful member of the team, because I would enjoy the experience. But as a game, I would not enjoy the game.
I was about to tell you stop. You're digging a hole, but you
I
came
am.
back
I was
pretty
digging
good.
a hole.
I'm gonna give you
John's
a little bit of
turn
a clap
now.
for that one.
It's time to move the mic.
Okay, well, first let me say my hand is starting to go numb holding this phone, so I apologize if it's a little shaky. I did really enjoy The Division, and going into the beta, I really didn't know a lot about it. So I didn't have any kind of preconceived notions of what I was supposed to expect. I didn't watch all of the trailers or the E3 press releases or anything like that. So I really went into the game just knowing that it was an open world shooter. That's it. And did I enjoy it? Absolutely. Is it something that I'll spend hundreds upon hundreds of hours in? Absolutely. Do I think it is a killer for Destiny? No. I think it's a little different. Destiny is more of a run and gun type of strategy shooter, where this is going to be more of a cover-based strategy shooter, so a little different. Same concept, same MMO, same open-world shooter, but still a little different. There's nothing that I hated about the beta, but there are a lot of things that they could have done better. And once I completed the beta, I did go back and watch all of the many of the videos off of YouTube that kind of recap things. They showed previous E3 releases back to 2013. They showed different footage that they've showed before side by side with what the beta was. They showed promises and speculation, and it's kind of interesting that how things have changed. And to kind of Matt's concern, that the graphics are good, but they're not amazing. You know, you see so many side-by-side videos online that kind of show not, and I know Mark's going to bring this up, so kind of curb this now, the 4K perfect PC, perfect TV configuration. It's amazing looking, it's beautiful. Yes, but that's not what the average person actually uses. So there have been several videos online that you can find on YouTube that show Xbox 360 capture compared to Xbox One capture compared to PS4, and Xbox One capture compared to what, you know, the beta was, and it's very different. So the graphics were not what I would have expected, considering how much time and effort they put into this. So is it good? Yes, but it's not what I would have anticipated with all of the hype and all of the lead-in time to this and the ability that the PlayStation 4 specifically has. I am kind of surprised too. I know Mark kind of touched on this. I don't think it's going to be the result of just the amount of people in the area. There were many times that I ran around PvE and the Dark Zone for 5, 10, 15 minutes without coming in contact with anyone, NPC or PvE style computer, and I didn't come in contact with anyone. So I originally thought that the longer you had time in the Dark Zone, the more contacts you would make, but that wasn't the case. There just wasn't that many people to run into. So I found myself really just kind of running street to street, trying to find computers, trying to find other players, and I really didn't find anyone. And that was really boring to me, because what's the point of running street to see other street other than a scenic tour? And that wasn't for me. So I loved the game. I loved the beta, but I think they definitely missed several aspects that they could have done better. But I still think it's going to be an amazing game. It's going to occupy my time. I just think, as always, the hype kind of overwhelmed what it actually was. Given that the beta is exactly what we will see and I see you smirking there, Mark. Yep. The map size, as Mark touched on, I think it's big. I don't think it's big enough. And I found myself saying this over and over again. I wish there were more houses to clear. I wish there were more tunnels to clear. And in the tunnels that I found, I wish there were more things to have to actually do. There were never any mini bosses. There was one quest, one story mission that we did that had a mini boss, so to speak. But that was it. On the open world, we never encountered really any mini bosses. I just think should be more on the open world, and I don't think that there's going to be enough PvE to combat the need to be in the dark zones. And Matt is, I'm predicting this right now, Matt is absolutely right, 100%. After a month, the PvP is going to the dark zones are going to just digress back to just a bloodbath. And if you're not willing to step in there with a group of 4 or 8, as Mark and I and some of our other friends found out online, if you weren't running with multiple groups of people willing to kill everyone, you were screwed. And I think after a month of this, that's what it's going to be. So, although in most ways they're hitting it all on the spot, I think longevity, endgame, there's a lot of things that are a little still unknown on whether it's going to keep our attention for more than just a couple weeks.
Well, and that's all. On that exact note, speaking of unknown, I think what a lot of people lose perspective of is that this was a beta slice. We didn't have crafting. We didn't have a myriad. I mean, we even noticed hooks in multiple different things for extra quests, extra things that were not available to us in the demo. So I think that's why I feel that I'm not worried about the amount of PvE content. And I think they didn't have everything activated in the dark zone ever. I think we're going to see more.
Of course not.
In the dark zones as well, because they have maintained over time that it's not just PvP, it's PvP and PvE in these dark zones. So, graphics, are they going to change? Probably not. I mean, look at Destiny. Destiny changed 0 between the beta and the actual release.
But it was good starting.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. But I would also contend that yes, it's not 4K. Nowhere close to 4K, but I saw a lot of beauty in it myself. There were areas. The color palette is the same because it's supposed to be a city that's in ruin. But
yes, the graphics were fantastic. They were great compared to what we're used to. There's one particular demo or trailer, if you will, that they go back to that they reference a lot, and you see a reflection in the puddle on the ground.
It's the Brooklyn first gameplay trailer. I know exactly.
Where it's exactly clear and crisp, and you see the reflection of the building in this puddle. And then you look at the beta, and it's still good. You still see a reflection, but it's fuzzy and murky. And I am one of those. I'm in sales, and Mark, I know you've been in sales. Under promise, over deliver. everything is so clear and crisp and almost photorealistic in all of the trailers you see, even the ones that say captured on Xbox One.
Mhm.
And then you look at the PlayStation 4, which everyone knows PlayStation 4 is better quality in terms of just pure horsepower than Xbox One, and it's not anywhere near the quality of the Xbox One quote-unquote captured trailer. So part of me is I'm not saying it's not good quality. I'm saying that if you're going to say it's going to be one thing, follow through. Just sales 101. Don't say it's going to be A and turn out to be B. Make sure that you keep it A, because that's what you've promised.
I think it'll be an interesting thing to watch once it launches to see if it is exactly the same or if there's something they're holding back from us in terms of like high-res textures or something. We'll see. I don't expect anything more than what we got in the beta.
The color palette was more limited. That was one of the things that got me. It was the color palette, and I think that's what led to everything looking the same to me. When I say the same, it's like, okay, again, if every single building in that part of the city is made out of the exact same materials, okay, fine, then they're all the same color. Got it. But if there's any variation, in, like there tends to be in the old cities where they're all made out of different crud every other block, that kind of just. And the detail level, that was the other thing. You know, I was expecting much crisper details in the buildings, and it just, again, it didn't meet my expectation. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it didn't meet what I was expecting.
Understood. Yeah, so we'll keep our eye out for when the game launches. We'll have plenty of coverage on it because we'll be playing the hell out of it. And let us know your thoughts if you got to play the beta. Nick, you did not get to play the beta. Is the Division something that could lure you away from Destiny?
Oh yeah, especially if you're talking about tons of content, because that's the biggest thing with Destiny that bothered me, is there wasn't a lot to do. Yes, the raid
content? Destiny?
Yeah, I know, and they've been like 6 months now, and they haven't given us anything.
So I'm gonna skip ahead in the news because this is topical and hilarious. Bungie has been sending out a bunch of emails.
No. Let me explain. It's actually I've seen this.
It's an addict explaining his dealer.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got that email way before this was a thing.
Well, right, but let's explain what this email is. So.
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. So I've gotten the email itself, and I filled it out. And it literally says, "Hey, we haven't seen you in a while. Why aren't you coming back?" And it asks, which of these activities would you prefer to see more content in? Which of these items do you want? What is your favorite type of item? What would you like more of? Is it if you could add a feature, what would that feature be? It's literally asking you what you want us to put into Destiny.
So that's not this email. Just FYI.
That isn't.
That is
because
not.
I haven't gotten any other email.
Yeah, this email is only going out to players who have not logged in for over a month.
Yeah.
And then asks them, why haven't you been playing Destiny lately? Please check all that apply. I don't have anyone to play with. I've run out of things to do. Endgame content is too challenging. My contact with other players has been unenjoyable, blah, blah, blah.
That's the top half of this email.
But then all the remainder of this email is, how likely are you to play Destiny again in the future, and any comments, and that's it.
Oh, I got that top half, but I got a bottom half to it.
Probably because they looked at it, and if they were smart, they did a one message to casual players and one message to people who have logged more than 300 hours in the game.
I plead the fifth on that one.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, I stopped at 470, so you've got to be up in the 800s now.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna talk. What is my stats? Actually,
yeah, you should look. You should look on the companion app and see what you're.
No, I actually uninstalled that. So.
I got an email from Destiny and Bungie, and I deleted it without even reading.
Yeah, I did the same thing actually.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you talking to me about Destiny? Go pedal somewhere
Go,
else.
go. You should send. Just forward it to me. I'll fill all yours out for you. Don't worry about it. I got this.
I did play the Taken King for at least a little bit, like 20 hours or so.
Nick, I'll tell you what is funny though. When John and Matt and I were playing the beta, we found a safe house with a special vendor who only sold gold items, and I immediately said, "Do we have to call him Zer?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, at least Zer's inventory changed every week instead of this guy's.
Oh, come on, it was the beta. I'm sure they did that on purpose.
Probably.
That was John's biggest complaint the whole beta, is that none of the shop items changed. And that's actually not true, by the way. What happened is that we kept connecting to the same instance. If you switch servers, the inventory's changed.
Yeah, well, that sucked because, I mean, towards the end of the beta, what point do I have to play if I can't upgrade my gear at all? And, I mean, there's points where I had significantly more income than you did, Mark, but yet nothing to buy.
Right.
So I was bored.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think a lot of those issues boil down to the fact that it's a beta, it's a closed slice.
Do you want to know my actual hours played?
Yes, please.
Or hold on, is that just one?
That's just one character. You have to do them all characters.
Okay, that's one character?
That's one.
Oh, okay. So then I can do this quick. Hold on. So that's 200 hours. That's 200 hours. Don't judge.
That's nothing. It's way more than that.
Yeah.
Hold on. And that's about 50. So roughly 450 hours.
No, okay. I'm calling BS. There's way more than that.
No, I'm not, because Nick only plays on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 7 p.m. and refuses to change his time for anybody else. So I actually believe those numbers.
And I have one high-end character. So
I have more hours than that, and I haven't played in like a year.
I know. It's exactly the same for me. So yeah, but with his very weird, I can only play for 2 hours, and it's during work hours kind of thing. It's crazy. I understand.
During your work hour, I get up at 7 a.m. for work.
No, this was before I moved out of East Coast. You still were playing during my work time.
That's true.
Okay, anyway, back to Division, which is more important than Destiny. Can't believe almost 2 years later we're still talking about Destiny. Shut up.
What is it with shooter MMOs and starting with D?
I know, right? So several, and I didn't know this until after I started going back and watching the videos. Several of the videos, you see a character walking up to one of the, say, weapon chests or weapon, plastic cases that you would really find in the real world. Something you keep your rifle in. Mm-hmm. You see them walking up to these cases, and they open it up, and it's got a really nice, clean image of the rifle. In this case, and it shows the graphic of the rifle and the stats of the rifle. That wasn't in the beta.
No.
And there were multiple. Well, again, under promise and over deliver. Going back and watching it, I didn't see that before playing. I saw it after playing, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, if I came across a really high-end weapon, and that's how I came across the weapon, is I walked up to it and I opened it up, and boom, there's a close-up picture of this rifle in front of me. That's awesome. That's really cool.
So here's the thing about that exact thing, because I was actually thinking this when we first started the beta, is if you watch that, they talk on the chatter, whose is this one? And they go, Chris, it's yours. And he goes, okay, great. And he uses the key and opens it up and takes the key out of his inventory. Well, guess what? That's not how loot works in the game at all. We can all loot it. So I think that's something that they changed at some point, went away from. So, but it's one of the first things that I thought of because that was my concern going into the beta was, will chests only be for one person, and we're going to have to determine amongst us who gets it, but it turned out that anybody can open any of the lots.
Yeah, I mean, I know you and I worked on that the very first few minutes we played together. When we were looting just the basic little pouches that we found, trying to figure out, okay, is it shared loot? Is it each person's on their own? But still, that would have been a really cool addition to, like, when you find, maybe not everything, maybe not just junk, but like if you come across a blue or an orange weapon, having some sort of like quick graphic about you seeing it and being able to bypass it, I think that would have been really cool in the game itself.
Matt, you were saying? You were about to say?
Something I saw didn't see in there, and I didn't see any stubs in there for it either, was loot sharing or giving items to other players, which that was a big in Destiny, and that seems like a kind of a easy miss there. But
so here's the short answer. John and I worked out a way to do it for any items that were dropped in the Dark Zone. What happened was, John, were you full in your stash, or there was something going on that you couldn't?
I was full in my personal inventory, but also full in my contaminated stash.
Right. So what we did is we found a secluded area, and I killed John, or John killed himself, and I picked up the first half of his dropped stuff. He respawned, picked up the rest, killed himself again, and I picked up his stuff. And then the goal was going to be that he was going to go clean his stuff out and then come back, and then I would repeat the process, dropping all the stuff back to him, and all it would cost us is like 600 Dark Zone credits or something.
Well, at first we didn't even think about the Dark Zone credit.
We didn't, which was a problem.
Until I realized how much I lost by killing myself. Which really, now, thinking back on it, really wasn't that much, because by killing rogue agents, which is a part of the Dark Zone, you make massive amount of currency off of killing rogue agents. Yes, to the point where Mark was ready to kill himself because of how much money I made by killing rogue agents.
Oh no, by the end of the beta, after you stopped playing, I was sitting at like 17,000 Dark Zone credits because I just went rogue hunting. That's all I did with a bunch of
yeah.
It's fantastic. All right, we got.
So Matt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Matt, no, there's no trading. They've already come out, and unlike Destiny, they have officially said, no, there's absolutely no trading, nor do we have any plans on offering up any form of trading. That's not to say that they won't implement trading in the future DLCs, but they have alluded to nothing. They are not planning, nor do they have any plans at this particular time to do trading.
All right.
So that will wrap up our discussion on Destiny.
No, it won't.
The Division this week. We'll talk more about it, obviously, as it comes out. We have a grip of news, so let's jump into it. Now, Matt, is that Song of the Deep? Didn't we cover that last week? Being published
I think it popped. It popped right during the podcast. I think it popped up. So we may have covered it. We may not have, but we can hit it again quick.
Yeah. So really quickly, Song of the Deep is Insomniac's new game. It's a twin-stick shooter. And what's interesting about it is being published by GameStop. So this is GameStop's first foray into the commercial publishing space, and you can only buy the physical copy at GameStop.
Which is an issue for me since I hate spending money at GameStop, but oh well. It's Insomniac, I'll do it anyway. And I just got an email today for the pre-order for the companion book to the game. So if you didn't know, there is also a companion book being sold of the story of the game. So you can actually pre-order that online, at least at Barnes & Noble's. I don't know if it's at any other retailer or not. I didn't look, but I got my Barnes & Noble's, hey, you might be interested in this email today. So.
What's Barnes & Noble?
Oh, shut up.
So while we're still somewhat on the division, I guess this dropped from between our last podcast and now. They did announce that there will be 3 paid expansions released over the course of 2016. The first one is called Underground, the second one is called Survival, and the third is called Last Stand. And so you'll also get exclusive sawed-off shotgun and exclusive outfits and weapon skins and special monthly benefits, but we don't know what those are yet. They basically outlined that Underground is going to be the subway system.
Marvel?
He's
Marvel?
So, they didn't go into too much on Survival and Last Stand expansions, but definitely they went into the Underground, said that it's going to be everything under the city. I think that could be cool, depending how big it is, but yeah. So that's that one.
I look forward to the Survival one, where they basically just throw waves and waves at you, and you see how long you can survive.
Yeah, that sounds all right. I don't know that that's like really worth a full expansion, unless they give you some kind of great reward for it.
Destiny. Sorry.
Wow.
Matt, what have you got for the
It's
next?
stuck in my throat.
You really should see a doctor or
A
somebody
little
about
Destiny
that.
stuck in your throat? Oh, dear. That's so interpretable so many ways. Let's see. What have we got here? Well, at least Mark and I, and possibly Nick, I don't recall, own a PlayStation Vita, and we pretty much generally like it. It's a very capable little device, has a lot of good things it could offer. Unfortunately, the latest firmware patch, 3.58, pretty much, I won't say bricked, but it makes it virtually unusable. So this is either a troll from Sony to try to finally just kill the thing off, or somebody in the QA department seriously needs to get fired. I mean, I understand bugs getting through in software. Trust me, I understand bugs getting through. This is a little egregious, though. This is like, did you even turn it on a commercial unit before releasing it?
I should have mentioned this one. It actually just popped up in my news feed. Sony just released a patch right now.
They did.
To fix
a
it.
patch.
Literally just now released a patch. Okay, so that'll probably fix it. This didn't go on. I don't know. This has been 3-4 days, so it's not a huge outage, but it's still pretty big if your only PlayStation system is a Vita. That's been very frustrating for folks. I hadn't even turned mine on in the last couple of weeks, so it didn't directly impact me. But it's really sad to see, that even in like the free game of the months, plus game of the months, the Vita titles are kind of getting excluded and ignored, and then you've got this happening. So it's just sad to see this little box that is so capable and so possible of being so much more than it currently is, just getting constantly flung under the rug or the whatever, flung wherever it can be flung.
Under the brick?
Yes, under the well.
Yes. Let's see, what else do we have? 2K renews its multi-year partnership with WWE. So that's the terms were not disclosed, but does give 2K exclusive rights to games on all platforms and formats. The interesting part is that without any fanfare whatsoever, I've totally 5-Star Wrestling was released on PS4 last week. So if you are still looking for an alternative to the WWE style games, that is out now. We've had those developers on the show, so make sure you go back and look at our archives for that. Matt, what's next?
This was actually, and if you had not left this one for me, I was going to fight you for it, because this was the event of the day in the house. It was a snow day today. Here locally, and so this is the second day in a row. So the kids were home, and I worked from home for both days. And today was the day where finally, at least according to my son, they released the latest character pack for Super Smash Brothers on the Wii U and 3DS, which included Bayonetta, but more importantly, Corrin, who is the main character from the upcoming Fates saga. And starting about noon, the Wii U was checked every 15 minutes to see if this update had gone live yet or not. And then finally, it didn't go up until like 7 p.m. or something like that. Finally, it came up and went live. And oh yeah, you remember that hard drive that was attached to that Wii U that I didn't take, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that became an issue all of a sudden. I did have an SD card lying around I threw in there thinking that would work. Nope, that only works with the Wii. Can't use that with the Wii U. So I actually did finally find an old USB hard drive I had lying around. And we hooked it up, and they were able to move all the stuff.
Hashtag first world problems.
Yeah, no, that setup on the Wii U is messed up. That is horrible because you have to download it into this system storage area, which is only maybe 6 gig total, and over half of it is taken up by the system itself. And so you can't store anything on there and then do anything with it subsequently. So it's pretty messed up. It's not a good system. You basically have to have some sort of USB storage on it. So we've got this 2 gig. It's actually a mirrored RAID array hooked up to the Wii now, or the Wii U, excuse me, so that they could download the patch for Smash Brothers.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I need to clarify here. Did you just say you have a RAID array attached to a Wii U?
Well, it's not really a full array. It's a sealed box that's got 2 drives in it that you can either do RAID 0 or RAID 1 with.
Do you even RAID, bro? I do. So, my Wii raids. You better start.
So yes, technically I have a RAID 1 2-disc array connected to my Wii U.
That is both the most awesome and sad thing I think I've heard this week.
Well, it was just sitting around. I didn't really have an active use for it at the time, and it got stuck on a pile at the bottom of the stack of something, and I forgot it was down there. And it was.
Speaking of awesome and sad. Nintendo reported its financial performance for the last 9 months, ending in December 31st of 2015. They basically said they're doing great with, even though a 31% fall in profits, the sales dropped about 4%, for about $3 to $5 million for the first 9 months of the year. The Wii U they're actually in striking distance of their full year goal of 3 to 4 million units shipped. As of right now, 3.06 million of that target have been accounted for. Their software goal was to get X number of titles past the 1 million mark. Splatoon has done very well. Super Mario Maker, Mario Kart 8, Yoshi's Woolly World all have done phenomenally for them. Splatoon's now up to 4 million units sold. Super Mario Maker at 3.34 million, and they're looking forward to releasing Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, Pokken Tournament, Star Fox Zero, and then Legend of Zelda on Wii U later this year as well. They also said that Pokemon Omega and Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were combined at 1.52 million in sales. And the big thing, of course, were Amiibos, which is ridiculous. 20.5 million Amiibo figures have been sold.
Which is crazy considering they are completely useless.
They are. So I just want to break this down. Let's say you get them at a discount, okay? Let's say you get them at a discount. You get them for $10 each, which is not the case. Most of them are like 12 to 14, depending where you get them. So 20.5 million times $9.99 is, I don't know, $204 million for Nintendo. What did I do wrong with my life?
Off of Probably figures that cost them less than $1 to make.
Oh, easily, it's got to be less than $1.
Saying.
They were pressed on when we can expect the first mobile game, but they didn't say anything. They said, "Hey, are you going to say anything about the NX?" And they said no. But I think that with Splatoon really bringing it home for them, that is going to become a full-fledged franchise that we will see well into the future.
Which is funny because I've seen almost nothing about that game, so I am either completely not looking at the right places or...
It's actually ridiculously fun. Even though obviously we no longer own a Wii U, which I am getting pressure to reinvest in, we did play it in the store, and it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. So I can see why people will be excited about it. All right, let's see if we can trim the tree just a little bit. Let's hit some important ones. One of the interesting companies that I've been keeping tabs on is called Magic Leap. They are an AR firm, an augmented reality firm, and they have been around. They've got some really cool stuff if you go check out like their YouTube videos. They haven't said exactly what it is and when it's going to be available. However, what's interesting is they just did another round of fundraising, and they raised $793.5 million to bring it to market faster. So I want you to understand this. This is a company that now has a valuation of $4.5 billion and has not released nor shown anything yet. What's interesting to me is I have actually got a VR conference coming up in 2 weeks that Magic Leap is supposed to be at. So I will hopefully get to have a little bit of handle on what they're doing and be able to talk about it then. So that's a big one. Matt, pick out a big one out of the list here. John, we're getting some feedback from you. It's not sure if you've got it and you're a fan or something.
I'm not saying anything.
No, I know you're not saying anything, but there's some feedback.
Well, again, I hadn't read this article, so I'm just skimming it now, but it looks like Psychonauts 2, which is a game that had successfully reached its Kickstarter about a month ago now, has still yet to... What?
No, that is actually what this story is all about.
Oh, okay.
It was not a Kickstarter. It was part of the new... I don't have the story open.
It's a crowdfunding thing.
It is a crowdfunding thing, but it's the specific platform where people can invest in it.
Okay.
Like Leap or... What is it called?
Novel Fig.
Fig, yes.
Traditional rewards-based funding equity alongside equity investment. Campaign was especially unique that anyone allowed not just high net worth individuals to invest in the game. So it was a what's that called?
So Fig's whole premise is that anyone who is accredited by the government to be able to invest in a game, or to be able to be an investor, which you have to have like $1,000 cash on, $1 million cash on hand, and some other requirements. But the point is that you could invest in this game. So not just, it has the normal crowdfunding, donations, if you will, but this was the first service to actually offer an investment opportunity on a game. Now, you get no IP claim, you get nothing of any further games done, but if you invested in this game, then you would actually see a return on the sales of the game.
Okay, so the regular crowdsourcing portion of the money has made it to Double Fine, but the equity investment part has not yet because of further clarifications and clearance from the SEC. So the SEC, the government is slowing things down. Imagine that.
Well, the government is slow. Imagine that, because they've never thought to do something like this, and so they're basically establishing case precedent online without
real time now.
Yeah, it's crazy. So,
and in the meantime, Double Fine's missing about half of its funding.
Yep. But the interesting part is that Double Fine is actually one of the board of directors of FIG, as is Valve, as is a bunch of other industry luminaries. So I'm sure they had to have accounted for something like this, so to speak. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, since it's an example of technology changing the way that gamers can interact with the things they love.
And so basically, it looks like they're in the typical back and forth with this kind of stuff that tends to happen. So they've got to assure the SEC that they're playing by their rules and that they're doing all the things right and properly. They, in this case, being FIG. And once the SEC is satisfied with them, then they'll be able to start doing the wire transfers. So.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Do you like football?
Do you want
That's all right.
football?
Are you gonna be glued to your television set for the big game?
Yes.
Oh. All right. Hey, Nick. Nick?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you like football?
No.
Hey, did you know that there's something called the Square Bowl going on for people who don't like football?
What's that?
So Square, well, not Square, but game developers Teddy Deef, which is from Hyper Light Drifter, and Adriel Wallach from Train Jam are hosting the second Square Bowl. It's a 48-hour event to benefit a charity called Able Gamers, and those two and a parade of special game developer guests are going to be streaming their playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII to completion.
That's awesome.
And so if you don't want to watch the big game, you can watch stuff by Square instead.
Huh.
See, that was very leading. I answered yes only because you seemed like you wanted me to say yes.
Well, if I wanted somebody to say yes, I would have asked Matt, because that's all. Green Bay Packers. I'm a cheesehead. Yeah,
I like the Packers. It's not football. There's a difference.
Anyways, that's Matt picked out an important one. Or are we getting?
I think honestly we've really hit the important ones. Oh well, Nintendo's thinking maybe VR might be fun after all. So
those hypocrites! They just said less than a year ago that VR is not fun. We're not going to do VR.
Based on this,
Game Boy VR.
All the broken promises John was talking about and all this, I think gaming corporations are more like with politics than actual anything.
Right. What about No Man's Sky and the thought that they might tie it to PlayStation VR?
There is still rumbling that may occur, but considering how the game still doesn't even have, well, I mean, it does have a release date now. It's at E3, which is dumb.
You can't even pre-order it yet through GameStop.
Really?
Nope. As of last weekend.
That's odd.
Not a Hero launched on PlayStation 4 till yesterday, and I know Dave was looking forward to that. So if he's watching
it
us,
looks amazing.
Not yet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Lexi, of course, looked at the 8-bit graphics and says, "Ew," but I thought it looked awesome. Is there anything else? Not really. The Witness. Speaking of The Witness,
made $1 gajillion.
Yeah, it's already brought in $5 million in 1 week.
Which is what, $5 million more than Braid?
No, it was $1 million in its first year for Braid.
So $4 million more than Braid.
Yeah, $4 million more than Braid, but in a week.
In a week, yeah.
So that's good for I'm really glad for him because, like I said, I think it's a really quality game. So then I guess that's going to bring us to site housekeeping stuff. Let's see. First off, I just published a new article on VR and how I believe that the Sony PlayStation VR has an advantage in the upcoming war of the VR. So if you want to read about that, a couple sites have picked that up. It went to the #1 on N4G for a while, so happy about that. But you can read that. We've got Destiny beta gameplay. If you did not get to participate in the beta.
Whoa. Hold on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Destiny beta gameplay?
Yep.
Destiny?
I have
What is
planted
wrong
the
with
seed.
you?
I have planted the seed. I have done
What
my
is
job.
messed up-
Bungie,
what
hire
is
me.
messed-
Hire
what
me.
What is messed up is that I then send Divinity gameplay, so I'm apparently about every other D game other than the Division.
There's too many D games out there.
There are. If you did not get to watch the Division beta or get into the Division beta, we've got some ridiculous amount, like 6 or 7 hours of gameplay footage up on the YouTube channel, so check that out.
Okay, and on that, I just got a message from Ian who's querying me as to if you guys are really going to get the game and if you're really going to play it. 'Cause our conversation has twisted him into considering it. So
I'm not laughing at you, Ian. I'm laughing at what you just said. I'm pretty sure that I will end up calling in sick the first day.
I already have it scheduled off.
Then I'm definitely calling in sick. So yes, that is something that will happen. That game is going to be all I do. My wife asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday. I said play Division with no interruptions. I love you. And well, that's so we'll see if that pans out. But that's the plan. What else? We put up a couple other gameplay videos, so check those out. I'll have another article going up about why I think the Division is going to be a commercial success. That'll be going up next week. Matt, do you have any? You're not You're still on streaming strike, huh?
yeah, if I can do it and play the game, I want to play the game. Fine, but apparently I can't. So,
all right.
I might stream some tank if because I can play that with the music off because the music doesn't mean anything in that one. But we'll see.
All right, Nick, what's going on with the list?
So I'm working on the Fallout 4 review, which is coming up soon. I'm actually getting fairly far in it. I'm down to a final thing. Lots are going to change in the next video. One, the script is already better. I'm learning as I go. Give me a break. Give me a chance. The script's better. I'm going to have transitions and a lot more graphics, but in a positive way. Not just like, hey, I was really busy with Sony Vegas Movie Studios. No, like they have reasons and purposes. Everything's going to be a lot fine-tuned, and I'm going to be digging my head in the sand and focusing on it a lot more. So it should come out hopefully by the end of next week at the latest.
What's your target time, like total time of the video?
I'm going to try and keep it shorter than before. The script is kind of going away from me, but kind of not. There's a lot of spaces. So I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes. Yeah, last one was 8, so I'm going to try and keep it under that. But it's not as easy as I thought.
I've got a ton of captured footage. I'm actually going to do something with that. I'm going to talk offline with John and Matt, and we might see what we can do for ideas with all that footage, because I'd like to do a couple vignettes as we lead up towards the launch of the main game.
I can also do Let's Plays. Do you want those?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got tons of recording. Don't even worry about it.
So other than that, that's everything that's going on the site right now. As I mentioned, 2 weeks I'll be attending the VR conference. One of the interesting things about that conference that I'm going to is they will have the world's largest VR game space developer. And what I mean by that is it's basically a football field-sized mobile presentation where they have actual physical props of guns and stuff, and you run around, pick that stuff up, and then use it in the VR space. It's pretty interesting stuff. So that's something I'm looking forward to trying as well. And game drops, anything notable this week? Yeah.
The 9th has the Dying Light brand new expansion re-release on the PlayStation 4.
Are you still planning on getting it?
I that's the goal. We'll see how finances go in the next week.
I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it.
Apparently, they added several things, including like racing and dune buggies. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, Nick.
Yes. So the one thing I forgot to tell you that I did play, because this is kind of semi-cool, I actually was able to purchase Dark Cloud 2 again for the PlayStation 4. Has anybody else played that?
Well, I played it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, everyone, good. Has anybody put as many hours into it as I have? Answer's no. So I'm going to tell you right now, I was one of those people who had like the best items, and I was so dedicated. I'm like, okay, let's get the best score possible in all the golf rounds. Woo! So, and I went back to do all the golf in the previous. I played it again recently, and the nostalgia spark has hit me hard. I'm trying not to play it, but that's very difficult. So, yeah, if anybody hasn't played Dark Cloud 2, pay the $15. Go buy it. It is worth every cent. It is one of the best dungeon crawlers I've ever played.
Lexi is actually considering it as her first actual RPG.
Go play it. Download it now. Download it now.
Maybe.
Don't hesitate. Don't think. It's so good.
That brings then, let's see, make sure that if you like our videos, do like and subscribe right here on YouTube. You can check us out on iTunes. If you would.
There is one thing we missed.
Oh, what did I miss?
The voting for your PlayStation.
Super. Yeah, I don't even need to. Super Broforce is totally gonna win.
Well, there's quite a movement for the Cactus game. I forget exactly what its name is. Assault Android Cactus. There's quite a movement for it, so it might. I'm Action Henk. I'm pretty sure is doomed. But anyway, you can. It's been a lot of chatter about why hasn't it come back? Why hasn't it been back? It is back, starting on the 9th. You can vote for which of the 3 games you want for the March release.
And make sure you check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/GamersLedge, @GamersLedge on Twitter, and just for other people, we're on Pinterest as well, pinterest.com/GamersLedge, Tumblr, as well as StumbleUpon and all those other good places. Also, do check out the website, GamersLedge.com. We also just put up a preview of information that just came out about Rainbow Moon coming to PS4, so that's up as well. And you'll notice, Matt, I said the right game this time. Rainbow Moon.
Not to be confused with Harvest Moon.
Not to be confused with Harvest Moon, because it is a different game. So that means final thoughts. We'll start with John. Final thoughts for the week.
I don't know. Long Island iced teas are good.
There you go. Matt, final thoughts?
The Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer was one of the best things I've seen in a long time. If you haven't taken a second to look at it, just go watch it. It's pretty awesome.
Hi, I'm Craig, and this is Mental Floss Video. Today,
Hi, Craig, and Mental Floss Videos.
What do you do with Mental Floss Video? Nick, I think Mental Floss Video is your final thought.
No, actually, I have another one. I was going to prepare that for after we were done. I forgot I was muted. Hey. The list is going to be coming out with more content soon. I do have a full-time job and a lot of other things taking up my time. Otherwise, these would come out a lot faster. Check that out as soon as I can. Better stuff. If there's anything else you guys want to see, like endgame content or specific things within games, like any tutorials or anything, send me messages. I'll be more than happy to make those, because like I said, I have a ton of footage. I need to do stuff with it, other than store it in a hard drive. Other than that, buy Dark Cloud 2. It's worth every penny. You will also lose your life in do it like I did Destiny. And final thoughts.
All right, Matt, it's not a list. It's just a final thought. So my final thought is something I wrote in a Google Hangout today. When I studied philosophy in college, one of the theories about human existence that always bothered me was the brain in the vat theory, that we're just brains in a jar and we can't actually perceive the real world. This is all like an illusion that's projected onto our brain. And now that we are, at least I am
Matrix.
Yeah, the same thing. Matrix. That's exactly what it's about. And now that we are looking at some of the ways that VR is going to shape what we do in the future, medicine, technology, communication, being able to that too. Visit places that you can't maybe afford to visit in real life. I'm beginning to wonder if we're creating the jar now, which is kind of scary in its own right. But to end the show on a happy note, we'll end the show as we always do.
No,
leave now.
happy.
Leave now.
No.
Stop. Click subscribe before you don't want to click it anymore.
What do you call a fake noodle?
Oh, please leave now. What do you call a fake noodle?
An impasta.
Get to the chopper, you impasta.
Yes, get to the chopper. Until next
Oh,
week.
that hurt. That
Game
physically
on.
hurt.
Game on.
Game on.
I think I have a
That
heart
was
attack.
actually
Game
okay,
on.
because you can make it about Arnold.
No.